next category, and this depends on if you're a FBI agent or a regular person working for the military like me, mid-career. That could be different ages for different categories. But what would you say if someone's halfway into their career? What are some things to think about?
Well, I think by the time you get to the midpoint, you certainly should have your thrift savings plan maxed out. If you haven't, that's the time to make sure you're doing that. By that time, if you decided to, have as we were saying, the FBI have a lobotomy and go into management, you're going to be making more money. So now you can certainly afford to do that.
Yep.
You could your college savings accounts. We want to make sure those, if they haven't been funded in that first phase of your career because you couldn't afford it. I mean, you do have to eat, and you have to power your house, and I get that. But you don't have to take a $15,000 vacation at Disney World though. You can put that off. So I would make sure those are tightened up and get the college savings accounts started. And I just can't agree any more than what you said. You gotta just automate that, where the money comes out of your checking account automatically for that 529 or Coverdale. Or I know we can't automate the changes every 2 weeks to our TSP, but you can put something in your calendar for every 2 weeks to pop up on every other Monday telling you to go do it and log in and do it. You'll never regret it. The number of people, and I've talked to thousands of people, as you might imagine, in over 25 years. And the number of people who come up to me and said, Dan, you brought an SOB. I can't believe you pushed me to put so much money in the first savings plan. Now I've got $2 million in there, and it's so stressful figuring out how to invest it that I wish you would have never told me. Zero. The number of people that have come up to me and said, I regret my decision to retire, and again, in 25 years, is zero. So what main thing I would say is, make sure you've got your financial house in order. If you haven't already, meet with a financial planner, whether you or someone else. I'm not a financial planner. People ask me all the time, hey, Dan, can I hire? No. You can't. I'm not qualified. I'm not a financial planner. I don't have any qualifications. I'm a rules and regulations guy. I can tell you exactly what you can and can't do in the federal law, but I don't plan out. So I would encourage people to get that mid-career financial planning, because you got maybe kids coming into college. You're starting to think about what you can do with the rest of your life. And speaking of the rest of your life, I get those calls. I get those calls all the time. Hey, Dan, I've got 10 years in. I got this job offer. What am I walking away from? If you're going to leave the government, and some people do, and they go off and they make hundreds of thousands of dollars, Pete. I mean, it's the FBI. I mean, the federal government, it's a job like any other, has benefits. They're very good, and they're kind of like handcuffs. After a certain period of time, you just stay there. But this is the time to jump ship if you're going to leave. I mean, if you've got that job offer in the private sector for $400,000 as some cyber analyst, and you're making $80,000 in the government, take it. You can always come back to work for the federal government. You can always come back, and people do. I see it all the time. People can come back to work for the federal government. So you don't want to walk away from that kind of opportunity. And mid-career is when you start thinking about, well, what am I going to do when I retire from this? I'll keep using the FBI as an example because, of course, that's where I was. But if I'm in the FBI, I got to think of, well, how do I make myself more marketable when I retire? Maybe I should become a polygrapher. Maybe I should get some IT training. Maybe I should learn how to work with confidential human sources or that kind of stuff, your interpersonal skills. Maybe I should become a pilot, take fixed wing lessons, and go on the surveillance group. Those are the people that work after they get good jobs after they retire. So mid-career is when you got to start thinking about that, because it takes a long time to get that skill set. And what a better way to get a skill set, Pete, than have your agency pay to give it to you. They're paying for the training, and they're paying for you to attend the training, and you're going to use it for the agency's good, right?
Yeah, it's good for both people. It's good for the agency, good for you. So, I don't necessarily give a lot of advice to military folks, but I do have had some military clients, and it's in any decision, in any point in your career when you're kind of halfway through. I think you alluded to that. It's like, okay, am I going to stick with it, or am I going to jump ship and do something else? And there has to be some kind of math involved with that, some kind of planning element with that, not just, I don't like it here anymore and I want to leave. I mean, that's
right.
So that's a so
I would definitely encourage somebody that's thinking about leaving. They need to meet with a financial planner, and all the what ifs. What if this doesn't work out? What if this 1-year contract, when I come back, can I afford to do this? Absolutely, positively, you need to have something else on there. But I remember giving a presentation at the Quantico after I retired, and I asked everybody, said, how many people are sitting in this audience today only because of the pension? Basically golden handcuffs. All the hands go up. Nobody with 18 years on the job wants to be there. but you got to stick it out to 20.
Yeah.
No one's going to leave at 18 years, 2 years for eligibility to take the job I just described. So that's why I tell people, if you're going to leave and do something better, and there are better things out there than the federal government, depending on what your skill set is and the area of the country you live in and how marketable you are. But one thing I tell people, you can always come back to work with the federal government. And it doesn't matter what agency, you're picked right back up with FERS, your unused sick leave goes right back. That's a whole nother story. But definitely you want that mid-career is kind of, where am I going?
Okay.
And moving is very expensive. I'm sure you know that, Pete. So if maybe you're in a city where you don't want to be. I was in San Diego, California. It was great for a while, but it's the cul-de-sac at the end of the country. There's nothing else to do after a while. It's it's bordered by a desert and ocean in another country. So you have to go north to do anything fun. So I got to Richmond, Virginia, but the government paid for that move. Moves are expensive. So by mid-career, you got to start thinking, is this where I want to retire? Because if I can get the G to put me where I want to be when I retire, this is the time to put those feelers out. And maybe like in the FBI, there's a technically trained agent. There were opportunities for technically trained agents to transfer, just like there were opportunities for pilots and polygraphers that are more numerous than the opportunities for those persons without a specific narrow skill set. So that's kind of my mid-year, what I would tell people.
Good, I like that.